All right, folks, we're about 60%, 65% done with the show, almost with the finish line, guys. Let's bring up your next comedian. Very funny. Put your hands together for my good friend, Daniel Baltazar.
We've had quite a bit of school talk. I'm just get straight into this, no bullshit. So I don't really like to talk about my school years, not necessarily because I was a bad kid. Hell, if you ask some of my teachers, they tell you I was either quiet and kept to myself, or I was no different than what you see on stage. But no, I don't like to talk about my school years because I don't want to sound like I peaked in high school or some dumb shit like that. That being said, though, there is this one middle school memory I have that I like to look back at and be like, oh, that was funny. When I was in middle school, all my friends and I, we would gather at lunch and we would just tell each other Yo Mama jokes. Man, if you watched Yo Mama jokes as religiously as I did, you were immune. Sure, I'd get hit with one that I hadn't heard of every now and then, but otherwise, I'd be immune. Like, I was so good that I could finish other kids' jokes for them, and it would take the power off it. I was fucking powerful back in middle school. Nowadays, if say I was in Boydston's class and I got into a Yo Mama joke battle with them, they'd be hitting me with all these brain rot jokes, and I'd be like, what the fuck is this shit? God damn it. I practiced this and I forgot all about it. No, I think I remember now. Yeah, I remember. So, going back to the... Wait, no, I forgot. God damn it. Oh, yeah, now I remember. So, speaking of middle school, when I was a middle schooler, I wanted to be a movie director. But the movies that I wanted to make, I wouldn't be getting Oscars for it. I'd be getting copyright lawsuits for the movies I wanted to make, which is no different from the copyrights I get on my YouTube channel from greedy music labels. If I had to choose like a CEO to sacrifice, because for the past few years, we've had at least one CEO incident. You had the SeaWorld incident in 2018. You had OceanGate in 2023. You had the astronomer CEO thing in, what's with the snapping?
I agree with you.
Then you clap, you don't snap like that. Yeah, you had the Coldplay astronomer CEO incident just a couple months ago, and you even had that surprise banner from that Polish CEO at that tennis game. But yeah, if I had to choose, I'd either choose Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, or one of those greedy music labels. Circling back to my idiotic middle school shenanigans, I used to write a lot of bad stories as a kid. I'm just gonna come out and say it. When I wasn't doing my schoolwork, and maybe this was one of the reasons that my grades were shit. Like hell, this is probably one of the reasons why if I was in Boydston's class a couple years ago, he'd have been screaming at me that I don't know Dante's Inferno. But no, my stories were bad. I thought these stories were gonna be like the next MCU, but no, they would just be getting me lawsuits. The worst stories that I wrote were romance, quote unquote. So let me take you back. I really hate bringing this one up because, oh man, it was so fucking dog shit. Like, I want to die just for remembering this story because it was fucking terrible, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. So when I was a kid, there was this game, I'm sure many of you might know it, it's called Five Nights at Freddy's. I wrote a story back in 2016 called Five Nights at Freddy's in Zootopia, because anything that got my attention for more than a month, I would make a story with that in this little world I created, and I would often daydream about it. But yeah, it was fucking terrible. I wrote it where like one of the animatronics fell in love with the rabbit cop. I want to die. I want to go back in time, find my 12-year-old self or however old I was, and just bitch slap that motherfucker. Like, what the fuck is this shit? Just be like, you're gonna look back at this in like 10 years from now, and you're either gonna cringe, die, or both. Yeah, I write some better-ish stories nowadays with one of my lads, but I agreed with him that I wouldn't really talk about them on stage, so I'm gonna keep to my word on that one. What I will say is they're at least better than what I wrote when I was in middle school. I can at least look back at these ones in 10 years from now and be like, okay, yeah, that's pretty solid. But yeah, I'm gonna end off with this one. So not a couple weeks ago. Last week, I went to pick up my sisters from my old high school because my parents had gone out of town for one of my sister's soccer games. And because it was hot as fuck here in Bakersfield, my phone was being cooked, so I couldn't play music on that. So I just had to turn on the radio. And as I'm waiting in the parking lot for school to let out, I just hear dum 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 dum. You know, pumped up kicks. I was freaking the fuck out, like, oh shit, turn that off. You can't have that shit playing at your school. Are you kidding me? Anyways, that's been my time. Have a good night, everyone. And just remember, don't write shitty fanfics.
Good job, Dan.
Are we all surprised that Daniel Baltazar mentioned Five Nights at Freddy's Utopia during this